All right, what's going on now? 3 o'clock, Chad here. The Trailblazers in-season tournament schedule has been announced. They will be in Group A and host the Minnesota Timberwolves November 12th at Moda. Tip-off at 7. They will also face the Rockets, Kings, and Clippers. From the NFL, Vikings rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy will undergo surgery on his knee to repair a torn meniscus. He suffered the injury in Saturday's preseason game against the Raiders. Jim Harbaugh will no longer serve as Michigan's honorary captain for the home opener against Fresno State as he prepares the Chargers for their regular season opener. Browns rookie defensive tackle Mike Hall arrested and booked in jail today after threatening a woman with a gun Monday night. He was released on $10,000 bond. The Washington Commanders have signed wide receiver Martavis Bryant after a 6-year absence from the league. He was suspended indefinitely for drug use back in 2018. And the Mariners open a 9-game road trip today in Detroit. First pitch at 3:40. George Kirby gets the call for the M's.
The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad, presented by Lazy Boy. What is your strategy for comfort?
Yeah. That is a pretty good prank, though.
Yeah, you never thought of that, right?
That's pretty good. I might do that to LeBron if I passed him.
Oh, God.
I might.
Yeah, well, he would deserve it, given his recent behavior.
Now the 3-1. Reynolds swings, hits it in the air towards right center. Merrill on the move, dives, reaches down, and he made the catch. How about a hang a star to end a game? Jackson Merrill did it all week with the bat, and tonight with the glove, he ends the game. There will be no challenge. And the Padres beat the Pirates again.
The 0-2 pitch. And Jimenez gives it a pretty good ride to center field. It's back at the wall. And it's gone. Leo Jimenez just hit his first career home run. And Mickey Moniak just missed, making an incredible catch as he throws his glove in frustration. As Leo Jimenez hits a 2-run shot.
Swing and a drive, deep left field. This ball headed back toward the wall, and it is going to be gone. A home run, Betts. Welcome back, Mookie. Betts with his 11th home run, and the Dodgers lead it 2-0.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad starts now.
All right, we heard the highlight there. Mookie Betts right back in the lineup, home run.
See, it paid off not staying in that hotel where all those ghosts were, Chad. He was good.
That's pretty funny. I do know Lorenzo Neal told me during his times down in New Orleans, he was drafted by the Saints. Then he said a lot of his teammates were very superstitious about some of the voodoo and the nonsense that goes down.
Yeah.
He always told me, he goes, whatever you do, don't eat the spaghetti sauce down in New Orleans. I didn't ask for details.
I've never heard that.
Well, if I told you the details behind it, then you would know why he informed all his teammates not to eat the spaghetti sauce down in New Orleans.
That is one thing, though, that you wouldn't really normally order in New Orleans.
That's what I'm saying. He just said, don't eat the spaghetti. And I was like, why? And finally, I kept badgering him. He told me why. I was like, okay, I'm never eating spaghetti in New Orleans. A lot of voodoo craziness down there. You heard the highlight there. Mookie Betts with a homer in his first game back after missing a couple of months with the broken hand. We were talking about the injuries with the Dodgers. Kershaw's back. They got Mookie back. I think now they're just waiting on Yamamoto, and they're starting to get healthy at the right time as they continue this push towards the playoffs with the Padres on fire.
They just put another pitcher on the DL, though, with having to have Tommy John surgery, one of their young guys. And he's not the key guy going into the playoffs. But I hope you notice Kershaw is pitching much better.
He looks great.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't need him to be the ace, but if he can be a valuable piece and part of the rotation come playoff time, it's huge with his experience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, a lot of things we're going to get to today, a lot of football and a lot of quarterback talk. In fact, Darren Orlovsky has got his list out of the top quarterbacks, but I like how he did it, Godfather, and we'll get to this later in the show, but he broke it up into categories in terms of arm strength and different metrics, and he ranks each quarterback based on the metric.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, and we'll get a chance to talk about that. You might be surprised at which quarterbacks are at the top of his list, depending on the metrics that are being discussed.
Yeah.
We'll also hear about Steve Kerr and leadership. He's so good when he talks. I love Steve Kerr. He knows so many good things, and I think he's a great coach. I just don't need the constant apology tour when he hurts people's feelings for not getting certain amount of playing time. Well, why apologize? You're Steve Kerr. You've won multiple championships. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially players' moms who get mad at you because their son didn't get a chance to play an X, Y, or Z game.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here, Godfather?
That's little league stuff. I can't imagine a pro coach worrying about that.
And I'm excited about this because coming up here in about 15 minutes, we're going to have an in-studio guest. He's actually with us right now, and he'll get a chance to talk a little basketball and a variety of different things. But Orrin Manor, who I met at Motor Center one night, and he came up and introduced himself, and we had a chance to talk. And he's a correspondent and a columnist, and he's from Israel, and he knows basketball extremely well. And obviously, he's got great insight on Denny Avdia, but he's a fascinating man, and he's someone that you know as well.
Well, all I can say is on the night of the trade, we were sitting at a table, and I swear he was the only person in that whole place who knew who Denny was.
Yeah.
Right? I think so. I think he's the only one. And he knew all about him. He's been watching him play since he was 14. So we'll get a chance to catch up on all of that backstory and find out all about him as the newest Blazer.
All right. I want to hit this story real quick because I know this is right up your alley in regards to the greatness of Oregon. It has been ranked as one of the top 10 worst places to live right now in the country.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think of that when you think of the natural resources and the beauty of the Northwest and
Right.
everything that we have to offer out here. But because of a couple of different metrics, Oregon is not doing well. In fact, it ranked 48th for housing costs, which is
No
brutal,
surprise.
and 42nd for home ownership rates. And if I had to take a guess at why this area is becoming a problem now, look no further than Multnomah County, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's your take on this? Because you've been out here longer than I have and for a long time, and you love the Northwest, and you hate to see some of the things that are going on out here.
Yeah, born and bred here, Chad. And people get on my case. They think I'm being negative when I point things out that I'm critical of. But it's more or less, I love the area and hate to see these things happening. And I try to alert people, look, we can do something about this. Let's get better. Can we be better? Can we clean up our parks? Can we at least, maybe water the grass in front of our schools nowadays and our parks and all that and make them look better, clean the town up a little, get rid of the graffiti, bring downtown back so that some of the retailers might want to be there again because they're leaving in droves, all those sorts of things. And it's embarrassing to somebody like me who's been here all my life.
Yeah, no doubt. The report was published yesterday by Wallet Hub. They compared 50 states across dozens of livability factors from housing costs and income growth to education rates and hospital systems. Overall, Oregon is ranked the 9th worst state to live in. According to their report, a big factor for ranking was based on housing, as Oregon ranked 48th for housing costs, 42nd for home ownership rates. Other states with the highest housing costs include Florida, Nevada, Hawaii, and California. Additionally, Oregon ranked 32nd for the percent of adults in fair or poor health, 26 for the percent of population in poverty, and 19 for the percent of people who are insured.
Mm.
There you go. Not glowing reviews for Oregon.
Not a pretty picture.
That's too bad. It's so different than when I moved out here in '87. A lot of changes, Godfather.
I know. Just look at downtown. I remember we used to, when my kids were little, we'd go downtown to Pioneer Square, and kids loved hanging out down there, eat at the food carts, and listen to the free concerts and all that stuff, and shop, and just have a lot of fun. And people aren't doing that now. I don't think they feel safe.
It also says here in the report, quote, additionally, Oregon's safety ranking in the very low at 47th, which raises concerns about crime and overall security.
Yes.
While it fares better in categories such as quality of life, that has to do a lot with the natural resources that we have, where it ranks 14th. These strengths are overshadowed by its high costs and safety issues, which makes it less attractive for potential residents compared to other states. There you go. They did rank well in the food department, though. We have
Oh, yeah.
good restaurants, good places to eat out here, and great relationship between the restaurants and the local farmers, which is nice.
Yes, the farm-to-table stuff is great here. And I think we're one of the best restaurant places in the world, really. Well, certainly in our country. I can't say enough about the care that the local restaurateurs take in producing stuff with local ingredients and all. And I just wish so many weren't going out of business right now. We've lost a lot of great places.
If you're curious about the top of the list, the top 5 states to live in, according to Wallet Hub: Massachusetts, which I can't pronounce, Florida, New Jersey, Utah, and New Hampshire. New Hampshire. Never been there. Have you been there?
No, I haven't, Chad. Look, if they don't have a professional baseball, football, or basketball team, I've probably never been there. That's how I get to places, covering games.
Wallet Hub analyst Cassandra Happ said when it comes to finding a place to live, people should consider cost of living, housing prices, and job opportunities.
Sure.
Quote, many states have strong economies, though you should also consider a wide variety of factors such as where you live will impact your health and safety and whether you will have adequate access to activities that you enjoy. If you have children, a robust education system is also key.
Florida was highly ranked. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That surprised me a little just because
Of Florida man?
Well,
Alligators?
Yeah, that has something to do with it. Plus, I don't know if there's any state people complain more about the weather than Florida.
Yeah.
Between the really hot, humid days and the hurricanes, it can be a really difficult place to live.
Quick golf story from today. I'm learning from what you encouraged me to do. So after a string of 6 straight rounds in the 70s, including my PR, yesterday I had an 82.
Oh.
Never really found myself. It was decent, but
No,
not
Chad,
great.
there's nothing wrong with 82.
No. But today started out bogey, triple bogey. So I was 4 over through 2 holes. And I took a big breath.
Yeah.
I
forgot about it, right?
Forgot about it. Parred out the final 7 holes of the front 9. So I finished at 40 on the front. And then on the back, I went bogey, bogey, bogey to start the backside. And then I parred out the rest of the side to finish with a 79. But more satisfying than the personal record because I had to grind for everything. But only 29 putts today, Godfather.
Whoa.
And the final 6 holes, I had to make 6 putts to get my par that were not give me. So I made 6 consecutive challenging putts. And it's just weird. Like the day when I had 43 putts, I didn't feel like I could do anything. Today, with each make, I felt like I was going to make each putt I stepped up to. A weird experience today, but more satisfying than the PR because I had to grind to get the 79.
Yeah, you earned it, especially making all those difficult putts.
Yes. The only downside is with the humidity up, mosquitoes were out today. They were
really?
attacking my ankles. Unfortunately, the less tan area of the bottom half of my ankles so that any welts that they leave behind will show up.
Yeah, I think itchy ankles are a problem because it's more difficult to scratch them. I'd rather have those bites on the arm.
I'm with you on that. All right, we'll keep things rolling here on the Rip City Drive. A lot of football talk today that we're going to get to. We'll hear from Steve Kerr and his thoughts on leadership, which I think is really good. The guy's smart. He doesn't need to apologize for everything he does. He knows what he's doing. He's got the gold medal. He's won a few championships. Steve, stop apologizing for the work that you do, my friend.
He was heading up a great coaching staff, too. He had great support with his assistants.
All right, everything you need to know about Denny Avia is coming up next. Orrin Manor is going to join us in studio here on the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. All right, Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. So I was in the media room one night at Moda Center for a Trailblazer game, and I was approached by a tall gentleman who said, hey, I'm curious, why do you have the Wailing Wall on your Twitter feed? And I explained my trip to Israel, and that's where I had a chance to meet our next guest, Oren Manor, who is in studio, a correspondent, a columnist, a guy who is an avid sports fan, huge Oregon Duck fan, and a big basketball fan. He joins us in studio. Oren, it's great to have you in, my friend.
Thank you guys very much for having me here.
Well, I guess we should start with your background. I've spoken with you before, but kind of give us a breakdown on all the different things that you do, because you're a fascinating man, in my opinion.
Thanks again. I represent an organization, a website that's called hoops.coil. It's a non-commercial organization, a website founded by a gentleman known as Professor Menachem Mel Les. He has lived in the state and covered the NBA for over 60 years now, and still going strong at 86 or 87.
Wow.
You got nothing on him, Godfather.
No, I'm a rookie compared to him.
He grew up in Israel as a child and then moved here to acquire education and became a professor for biomechanics in schools in upstate New York. And during the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, he used to be a columnist, and he wrote about sports and mostly NBA to audiences, Hebrew reading audiences worldwide, mostly Israel. He has fascinating stories about, again, multiple sporting events, especially New York, where he lived most of his time, and the NBA. He once told me a story how he went to the Will Chamberlain 100-point game in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and he showed me the original stuff. Like,
Really?
That's how old school this guy is. You can't really talk to him because he jumps in history to places you've never been, I've never been. I grew up in the Michael Jordan, New York Knicks, Reggie Miller era, and he starts talking to you about New York and basketball in the 70s, and fascinating man. When he retired, he bought this website for him to have a platform where he writes almost every day, what we call his daily mix, where he takes a few topics about the NBA and other sporting events, and he gives out his 2 cents. And the website is also a hub for young writers who want to take their first steps in the sports media world in Hebrew. So they can write down or offer all kinds of posts and online advertisements, and then they get some sort of a reflection from the community. There's a community of contributors. I'm very proud of everything that we do, and today already most of the paid professional NBA media correspondents in Israel are people that grew up on the platform of Hoops. And it's just a blessing to be a part of it and to kind of know Professor Les and, to do what we do, which is enjoy the NBA and try to have others live it through us.
How old is Professor Les now?
I think 86 or 87.
Wow.
He was also, he had really bad COVID. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where the website is sort of out of, in a retirement community. But he's super sharp. Every day writes his daily column, gets, remarks and like talkbacks from community members. Just a fascinating individual, and obviously he's a professor. He's smart in many other fields, but especially about the NBA and basketball in general. And throughout the years, he also coined all kind of languages and terms. It's hard to kind of translate from Hebrew to English, but this is what this website is about. So I am a media correspondent for the website. There is, I think, 10 others sort of like me that cover NBA games in LA and New York and Toronto and the Bay Area. What I basically do is I go out to games and I create, a story, a post, a column of things that connect the NBA players with the international European basketball and Israeli connotations here and there. I interview players one-on-one. I interviewed over 100 NBA players and
Awesome.
also other characters in the backstage, assistant coaches, anyone who is in the NBA, and you guys all know how the NBA works, and also with connections to international basketball.
And you don't interview or write about just the Israeli players. I've seen you. I mean, almost all the European players you develop a relationship with, it looks like.
Yeah, sort of. So, like last year, it was in the summer. There was the World Mundo Basket, right? And Germany won the Mundo Basket, and I gave myself a challenge for the year. I'll interview every captain of a European nation that played in the championship. So I talked to Dennis Ruder, captain of Germany, Jokic, captain of Serbia, Shishi, Dario Saric, captain of Croatia, Markkanen, captain of Norway, and Danny, captain of the Israeli team.
That's awesome. Of all the over 100 players you've interviewed, who was the most unique player that you've had a chance to talk to?
I don't know what unique is.
Interesting, cool.
Fun.
Dennis Schroeder was nice. Nicola Batum was very nice.
And by the way, Batum has carved out a very nice career for himself. Still playing well.
Right, and the story with Batum is how he was a kid and he used to watch Maccabi Tel Aviv basketball games, and he kind of reminisced on the lineup of a team that's like 20 years ago. So that kind of stuff. I had a good bond with the Wenyan Gabriel, who briefly played here for the Blazers.
Dwight's a big fan of him.
He's
Good guy.
He's a good
He
man.
just signed with Maccabi Tel Aviv of Israel. So he's out of the league now, but
What type of money do the Israeli basketball players make?
it varies. Wenyan Gabriel probably makes $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 a year, which is just under his NBA minimum. Probably.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
That's big. If you're a starter and you don't play for a EuroLeague level team, 100, 200, there's not much more money there than that.
But don't the teams there take better care off the court of their players? I hear stories about housing and just things for the family if they have it. They seem to care for their players a little more than they do here.
So in European leagues, and you can take every country, for example, Germany, Spain, Turkey, Greece, Israel, and so. It's not a well-managed association like the NBA with equality and salary cap. So you have the teams that are the kind of upper echelon teams that also play in European Cup competitions throughout the season. They have more money, they pay well, they take better care of their players. And then you have the other half of the teams that, again, where the players make $100,000, $200,000 a year, which is great money. And, you only work 8-9 months out of the year. You can take a second job working somewhere else across the globe. And it really varies from country to country as far as where you do, how you end up. Imagine yourself as a foreigner, an American foreigner, most often a Black American foreigner playing overseas in a different culture. Luck has to do a lot of it sometimes because, you don't pick the team picks you. You don't pick the coach. You don't know what you're coming into. You will be the leading player because there's, foreigners restrictions in each country. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But you got to perform or they'll cut you real quickly because they have really no real obligations to you. They will always sign you to a 1-year deal with like a summer option. Most players don't get more than that.
How big? I couldn't gauge this when I was in Israel, but how popular is basketball in Israel compared to soccer or other sports?
Soccer is number one pretty much everywhere else but this country, okay? Yeah. Including Israel. Soccer is way more popular, even though it's less successful in European and international standards. Basketball would be the second leading sports in the country. So obviously all the games are televised and followed, and I've done statistics when I was in university for one of the teams. So it's professional like here, but really there's no money in the Israeli league. Uh, I'll say at least half of the league, all they do is they keep the minimum budget per year, which is $1 million.
Hmm.
What's the Blazers budget? 200 millions.
Yeah.
So
Big difference.
Are they watching American football over there now more than they did? Or in Israel, is there an audience for American football?
less after Brady retired, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
The time zone difference from the East Coast is 7
Yeah.
hours. From here, 10 hours. So a 1 p.m. Eastern Coast kickoff on a Sunday is 8 p.m. in Israel. So it's prime time. But it's also the hour where the prime time basketball game is on. Or the soccer game of the week is on. So you'll always have competition, and it's Sunday. You can watch every game you want, soccer-wise, from England, from Germany, from Spain, from France. So I think I have right now more Israeli sports channels than American sports channels.
Wow. We're talking with Oren Manor, who is a correspondent for Hoops, and he's in studio with us right now. Were you born in Israel?
Yes.
When did you come to the States?
I came to the States about 20 years ago. So on, and I've lived in the last 15 here in Oregon. I am very happily married, and I have 3 kids, and I live in Beaverton.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which town were you born in Israel?
I was born in a small kibbutz called Negba, which means south. It's in the middle of the boonies, in the middle of nowhere. Far from rockets.
You pick up a lot of our slang. The boonies.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Every country in the world's got boonies somewhere,
Yeah.
Godfather.
I
It's
know.
desert-style boonies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, I was impressed with the kibbutz, just the work with what the Israelis have done with the land over there and what they're producing. It's mind-blowingly awesome.
Yes, Israel is a leading country in
What, exporting flowers, agriculture.
agrotechnology and hydrotechnology, because there's no water, so you got to find solutions. Yeah.
Very impressive. All right, a lot of things to talk about. Did you have something you want to jump in with,
No, I
Godfather?
just wanted to ask him about Denny and how he first. You've been watching this man play for a long time, right?
Yes, I've been kind of following Danny since he was maybe 15, 16, playing for the youth groups of Maccabi Tel Aviv basketball.
They're national teams for under those ages.
No, it's a professional club, Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Oh, he
top-
was with them.
Yes, he was there playing youth levels, and sort of there's no high school league, so it's a professional club league. Not professional, but a club league in high school ages, like AAU, for example.
Mhm.
And the story with Danny is everyone realized he was going to be something special. His dad, very, very interesting person. His dad was a professional player and played for the national Yugoslavian teams in the early 90s. Yugoslavia was part of the Soviet Union, so only once the Iron Curtain fell and they were allowed to go play in other countries, and Sabonis came here. His dad was already 34, 35 years old, and he came and played in Israel. He's a very outgoing, kind of funny guy, funny dresser. Today he's a general manager for one of the teams in the Premier Israeli Basketball League. And his dad basically retired and then stayed to live in Israel, married a lady who is Denny's mom. And then when Denny was 15 or 16, they realized this guy is like a potential. And there were rumors on how they thought about allowing him to go and play in Serbia. They said, look, Serbia is a clear basketball nation. His progression and development could be much better in Serbia. And so the Israeli National Basketball Association sent people and, they really sat on the dad telling him, hey, stay with Israel. He's Israeli. He has nothing to do with Serbia. I don't know if he speaks Serbian or not, but like this is his place. We will do whatever it takes to keep you guys happy and to help develop Danny personally and also on the team level and on the national team level to bring success. And that was a huge success. Danny led the Israeli under 18 and under 20 to back European championships. So it's like a summer tournament, basically, where 16 teams come and play out. Israel maybe made the finals one time in 50 years, and he brought them back to back. One year he was underage, then the other year he was the MVP of the tournament. I think he almost averaged like triple-double every game. Played with a lot of other talent that is now international talent in the NBA, Spanish players, former Yugoslavia players. And he also brought the Maccabi Tel Aviv youth group to back-to-back championships in Israel. And they also won the international high school tournament. So it was clear that he's going to be a kind of a first-round draft pick. And when he was still under 18, he played for the Maccabi Tel Aviv professional team who played in the EuroLeague. And back then you could see, okay, he's just a kid, but this kid can play. When draft night came, he thought he told me, but he thought he was going to get picked by Chicago with the 4th overall pick. They took Patrick Williams. He's a good player. He was injured a lot, but he's a good player. And then he ended up with the Wizards. And he played with the Wizards for the first 3. He just finished his 4th year. At the end of the 3rd year, they had an option to extend him. They offered him a 4-year, $55 million contract. Clearly a very fair contract at the time, both for what he produced and, someone offered you $55 million for 4 years, at that point, like I would take it.
Yeah,
I'm in.
of course.
I'm in.
Yeah, that's better than we're doing here, just by a little bit.
And something happened. So he played the first 3 years of the NBA, and there were issues with his game. His outside scoring wasn't very consistent, and he wasn't sure what he was because he could be a ball handler if needed. People compared him to Luka at first, which maybe did him a little bit injustice. But he was no 3-and-D guy. And, since I've been watching all of his games, I mean, pity me a little bit. In the last 3 years, I watched 90% of the Blazer games and 90% of the Washington Wizards games.
Oh, my gosh.
It's
You've
been-
seen
it's
some
been
brutal
tough.
basketball.
Wow,
Yes,
that's
it's
a
been tough.
torture there.
You need counseling.
It's been tough. And what happened was the Wizards, beyond just being a bad basketball team, they're a really bad coached basketball team in the sense of either Kuzma or Bradley Beal at the time or Jordan Poole. They take the ball and then they're not going to pass. Like, you don't even know what kind of a player you are where the team is not coached. It was really hard to see. Like, they lost games just because they were poorly coached. Games they could have won. And take someone from Denny who came from this winning culture and winning history. He won pretty much everywhere he went and touched at the young ages. And then you come to the NBA. Yes, you make the money. You're very famous, but you suffer on the court. Plus, when you come as a non-American, as a foreigner player to this league, there's all of these nuances on the court and then obviously off the court with the team, in the locker room. You gotta blend in with the mentality. And the Wizards was kind of a tough place to do so. However, he did do well with the core of young guys that were there. Kispert and Daniel Gafford at the time, and other good guys who were part of the team, but the team wasn't winning. And then something happened to him this year. And I think that's what we, as Blazer fans, let's call it, that's where it gets interesting for us.
Okay, hold it right there. Can I keep you until the end of the hour? Do you have time for us?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to keep on with Oren Manor, who's in the studio, and we'll talk about the emergence in Dini Avia's game, and then we'll find out what he thinks he's going to bring to the club. Oren Manor is in studio, correspondent and columnist for Hoops. Enjoying this conversation. Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. All right, Israeli correspondent Oren Manor is in studio talking basketball. We all need to say a prayer for him right now. He just informed us he's got a 5 o'clock date at Chuck E. Cheese with how many family members?
18.
Oh, my God. That is unbelievable. That place is hell on earth when you have kids.
Yeah, but can you imagine how many of those tickets he's going to win? Because all the kids are going to be playing those games. You can redeem it for a stuffed
right.
toy or
I was
something.
told they renovated.
Oh, my goodness. That's incredible. Wow. 17. That's big time right there. It's great to have you in studio. We appreciate it, Oren. We were talking about the first 3 years of Denny Avdia's time with Washington, and there's been a change. Something clicked to take him to a different level. So why don't you continue with your story?
Okay, thanks. So as I was talking about, the first 3 years playing as a rookie contract player, also during COVID, and playing for the Wizards, which we talked about how bad they were, and also they were a franchise with no real direction. They didn't know if they were going to rebuild. They did the Beal trade and the Westbrook trade, and then he's actually really good friends with Russell Westbrook. And when he signed the contract last summer and came off to the league, he worked really, really hard during the summer in an effort to get better. And then before the season started, war broke in Israel on October 7th, and then he's at the age where a lot of his friends are military reserve, so they got called and he got affected, and that thing really matured him. I interviewed him on, I think, February or March, and we talked about that, and he said how he was affected by the war and by him being sort of an ambassador of the country and of the efforts to kind of win and end the violent and move on from all of the extremists who are violent. And we saw a big change in his game. He no longer just sat in the corner and waited for the ball to come to him. Another thing that happened is, I think just before midseason, the Wizards fired Wes Unseld Jr. and promoted Brian Keefe as the head coach position. And Keefe just gave him way more minutes and gave him the ball. So he moved from being just a 3-and-D guy to the actual sort of point forward of the team, playing along Tyus Jones. That really also benefited Tyus Jones because he got pressure off of the ball handling, and also you can see how his assist number went up when Danny was the ball handler. And then it made the team a little bit better. Not that they won all of these games, but it made the ball better to put Danny as a decision maker rather than Kuzma or Jordan Poole, and let them be the real good finishers that they are, but not the decision makers or the offensive starters. And then he just blossomed. He moved from like an 8.5 points per game to 17, 18 points per game, with 7 or 8 rebounds, with 3, 4, 5 assists per game. There were games where, again, I keep on wanting to say Luka Doncic. There were games where he kind of looked like Doncic. It was funny when I talked to him in March. I asked him, there was like a bet going on in Israel in our website. What would be next? Is he going to drop 30 in one game, or is he going to have a triple-double? Because he was really close to having both. And he told me, I'm more of a passer. I'll probably get a triple-double first. And then the next night he went and scored a career-high 43 points against the New Orleans. That was by far his best performance. So he's a guy of confidence. Confidence will come to him, I think, with the ball. He plays very persistent, highly coached, organized, intelligent basketball. His shooting percentage is up dramatically this year. I think from like 31, 32 to like 36 something shooting threes. He made the open shots when he had them. And he was, I think, the 5th or 6th overall in the Improving Player of the Year award. So he's moving up. He has a very, very, very good contract. And he's, I believe, just starting to kind of show what he knows.
You know, the one thing I've seen, or players coming from outside this country who didn't come up in our system, such as it is, it's difficult for them to make an adjustment because there's more one-on-one play here, and they're used to playing in a real system where the ball is shared, there's more patterns, there's more plays, and sometimes it's hard for them to fit in. They end up doing what he did the first couple of years. It's kind of standing back watching these guys go one-on-one. And I'm wondering if you feel that from some of the players coming into the NBA that aren't raised in our quote-unquote system that doesn't emphasize team play as much as those other systems do.
So it's like the always ongoing battle in between the commentators of our website. Someone just pointed out, and he said, how can LeBron be the MVP of the Olympics? He only averaged 12 points per game, where in the NBA averages 28. Like, where did the rest go? And Steph had like 14 points per game. Like, what are the differences, right? So the biggest difference of them all between the NBA and Europe is that in Europe or international basketball, the most important figure is the coach. No one is above the coach. Okay? In the NBA, it's the star players.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yes.
You're talking about Steve Kerr apologizing to Jason Tatum for not playing him. Like, you brought 12 players. You can't play them all, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
In Europe,
And he's the coach.
right. And
Yeah.
he's the coach,
Yeah.
right? Maybe the best coach in the league in the last 10, 15 years. And you don't speak out to the coach. You keep everything inside the team, especially, again, if you're an American playing overseas. When you come here, there is that mentality, and you can see it. I see it in locker rooms. Always like the European players will kind of be on their own side, while certain groups within the group will be on other sides. It's a mental thing. The NBA is not just basketball. It's a show. It's a circus.
Entertainment.
Yeah, entertainment. And there's a growth pattern with each player, and really individually, it's up to the player to see if he can Americanize himself. I think Danny has done a great job. You can talk to him. He's total American in his nature. He has been visiting the States from he was young, playing Nike tournaments and all kinds of McDonald's and international tournaments. And I think he's got it. And I think with the kind of confidence that he has right now, for him to walk into the Blazers locker room with the young players or the players who are not really sure where they stand on their career or where the team is going, he's going to bring that boost.
Amazing. Oren Manor in studio.
Perfect.
We got to let you go. You've got this important date at Chuck E.
Yes.
Cheese. You got to promise to come back in so we can talk more Diddy
Absolutely.
Avia in the near future.
Yeah,
You cool
let's
with
get
that?
a few games under his belt, and then we'll get you back in and talk about it.
One more thing. Are we still on?
Yeah, we are.
One more thing. October 19th, season opener. It's a preseason game, but the first Blazer home game. Danny's home game. They're playing a German team called Ulm. The German team just signed the next best Israeli guy, who's 17-year-old Ben Saraf, just voted the European Summer Championship MVP under 18. He's going to be a first-round draft pick. Good guy to watch, and it's going to be fun.
This is where we get knowledge.
I love
here.
it.
Yeah.
Now, Oren, before you go, you've got your kids listening. Let's give a shout-out to them. Who are your kids?
My kids, Evan from United PDX Black 2012
What's up,
ECNL
Evan?
team. Henley, my
Henley, what's up?
sweetheart. Yona, my young one, and
Yona.
my wife, Michelle.
Michelle, thank you for listening.
Thank you much.
You're welcome in studio anytime. Oren Manor is with us. We'll come back and we'll discuss the Boston mayor and also the best player to not win a Super Bowl. You got the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad.
That was fun.
All right, 4 o'clock chat here. What's up, my friends? The Trailblazers in-season tournament schedule has been announced. They will be in Group A and host the Minnesota Timberwolves November 12th at Motortip at 7. They'll also face the Rockets, Kings, and Clippers. From the NFL, Vikings rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy will undergo surgery on his knee to repair a torn meniscus. He suffered that injury in Saturday's preseason game against the Raiders. Jim Harbaugh will no longer serve as Michigan's honorary captain for the opener against Fresno State as he prepares the Chargers for their season opener. Browns rookie defensive tackle Mike Hall arrested, booked in jail today after threatening a woman with a gun Monday night. According to a police report, he was released on $10,000 bond. The Washington Commanders have signed wide receiver Martavis Bryant after a 6-year absence from the NFL. He was suspended indefinitely for drug use in 2018. Mariners open up a 9-game roadie in Detroit today. George Kirby right now on the bump for the M's. Well, I'm sure glad I discovered that bag of Snyder's sitting underneath your desk over there, Godfather.
Happy to be of service, Chad.
I'm dragging today. I need more caffeine and I need more energy. And I just had a nutrition bar, and the Snyder's jalapeno ranch pretzels on top of that taste fabulous.
I have to give you all you need because you're the one that introduced me to those little
Tasty morsels.
tasty morsels. A very good way to put it.
They are spectacular.
Sticks of goodness, yes.
I love going to Trader Joe's. They just opened up a brand new Trader Joe's close to where I live. In fact, about 3.5-minute drive to be exact. But they have always got new snackies and different things I'm checking out there. So I may have to swing by there tonight after work. I couldn't believe it. The drive home last night, this is why the traffic's so whack out here. Like a 30-minute drive to get home last night. No traffic from here all the way up to the Couve. I don't understand why. I don't know what was different about yesterday than any other day, but it was one of those nights where I'm just like, are you kidding me? This is wonderful. And then it ticks me off when I realize how quick the drive is when there's no traffic.
Yeah.
It was nice.
That's funny you say that because mine was long last night, like 45 minutes on what could be a 25-minute drive. It's craziness. You never can predict either.
No, you can't. How nice was that conversation with Orrin Manor? I love that guy.
It's a lot of fun. He's a good guy. We argue at games all the time, because I can kind of get under his skin a little bit, and he gets under mine a little bit. It's a lot of fun. He's really a smart guy, I'll tell you that. He's got a great memory for basketball, too, and loves the sport. It's kind of fun to talk to him.
Well, I'll say one thing. I feel for him on his way over to Chuck E. Cheese with 17 family members. Every dad who's been in this situation understands what's at stake here. That place is a disaster when you get a bunch of rugrats running around.
Yeah.
A disaster. I got left behind at a Showbiz Pizza, which is basically the same thing as a Chuck E. Cheese back in Tulsa when I was probably 6, 7 years old. Left behind. My papa was supposed to gather all the grandchildren. Mm-hmm. He did, except he left me behind. And all I remember is that I was in tears and scared because my family was gone. But the manager, I'll never forget, he took me in the back, and I got to watch how the pizza was made. And, of course, back then, the fact that they had that conveyor belt that you drop the fresh pie on and let it go through the oven, that was big time back in the early 80s. So I got to see that. He allowed me to help him cut some pizza slices, and he gave me this tip-top hat, which is one of the things that the characters in those little shows they put on wore. So I had a top hat. I got to help cut pizza. And then he gave me this cup full of tokens to go play games.
Oh, wow.
Until my family returned to pick me up. And I thought, I've died and gone to heaven. I get to help make pizza at Showbiz, and I get a cup full of tokens to play video games until my heart's content. It doesn't get any better than that. But I was a kid. I was not the dad who was suffering with the children in that situation.
Yeah, I was lucky with my kids because I think they didn't particularly like the pizza there as much as they liked the pizza for a place a little closer to home. So after ball games and things like that, I think we went to Pietro's and I think the one in Milwaukee we went to a lot after ball games. And so we got to stay away from the rat race so to speak, at that crazy crazy place.
All right. I want to hit you with this story real quick because it was in the news, but you probably saw in the news. Most of you did. Jaron Duran used a gay slur.
Yeah.
He was at what, home plate?
He
And
was.
turned around to say something to,
There was a heckler in the stands.
yeah. So he used a gay slur in response to this heckler.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Major League Baseball has stepped in and dropped some punishment on him, right?
In combination with the Red Sox, who he plays for, I think they came to an agreement that they would suspend him for 2 games.
All right. So he's out of line. Obviously, you can't use anti-gay slurs if you're at a baseball game and turn around and say it to a fan. You don't want that if you're the Red Sox, Major League Baseball, anything. Well, this is what politicians do, and it's very annoying. But Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, after this incident went down, has requested to have a sit-down meeting with Duran to discuss his use of an anti-gay slur. And I've got to be honest with you, Godfather, if I'm an adult and I've been punished for my mistake.
He's already apologized, too.
And apologized.
Yeah.
And the mayor wants to have a sit down with me. I'm going to politely decline. No, I'm good. Like, what's up with that? Why does the mayor need to step in to have a discussion with Duran about his use of a gay slur when he's apologized and been punished for it?
Because she's trying to curry favor with voters.
Of course.
That's what it's all about. And I would have a hard time believing that she's going to bring something to his attention that hasn't already been brought to his attention. You know?
What would you do? Would you sit down and be like, now, we can't use words like that. You're going to treat it like it's kindergarten?
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Yeah, it's like getting a lecture from your kindergarten teacher.
Politicians are pathetic because they always try to jump on anything that could bring attention to themselves.
Right. It's not her business.
It's none of her business. None.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have bigger worries to worry about with your city?
Yeah, I was going to say, she must have Boston down pat. Everything's cool in Boston because she's got time to go do this.
Yeah, no crime issues, no transportation issues.
No problems. No
Everything's
traffic.
good.
Yeah.
Well, now I'll move on to the Red Sox and deal with some of their players.
Yeah. If she really wanted to help, she could go down to their AAA club and see if she could find a reliever for them. Maybe another infielder with power. I don't know.
It's just annoying to me. It's like, no thanks, Mayor. I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
I apologize, and I was suspended for 2 games. I've been punished. I don't need to have a sit down so you can remind me of how much of a bad guy I am.
But he's probably going to have to do it.
Why would you have to?
Well, because the team's probably going to say, look, it's the mayor. We're trying to keep good relations with City Hall. They can make it tough on us. Just sit down and nod your head for 10 minutes and listen to her. And
yeah,
then...
you drop the suspension, I'll go meet with the mayor.
Yeah, right. It's a trade-off.
I mean, that's ridiculous. She's out of line.
Yeah.
Out of line.
I agree.
Can you imagine the email from Ted Wheeler? Hey, Chad. I heard what you said about the MILFs and Zach Wilson on the radio the other day. We need to sit down and have a talk. Why is that?
I was going to say, eras change, but I can't imagine somebody saying something to Ted Williams about that, who used to spit at the fans and make a few gestures at the fans and didn't care. I mean, he really didn't care, but it was Ted Williams. And as long as you hit 400, I think everything's still cool with the fans. But
oh, my gosh.
He would not have sat down with the mayor.
Man, but politicians give me... Yeah, I feel like I need roll aids. Just stuff like that. It's like, please, stay in your lane, please. Can you stay in your lane?
I know.
Maybe. No, you can't. Okay, I see what's going on here. Whatever I can do to get attention to placate my base.
Why don't you just congratulate the Red Sox for taking care of it in a timely manner? They didn't waste any time. They didn't take a week to figure it out. He was suspended for the next 2 games.
It's ridiculous. All right. You brought up this question because it was posed on, I think, X. This is a question I'm sure you all have had at some point, but who is the best player in NFL history to never win a Super Bowl? And this tweet was suggesting it was Dan Marino.
Right.
And, of course, Dan Marino is right at the top of the list. He's one of the first players you think about. And if you go back to his 1984 season, I can make an argument that's the greatest season by a quarterback in the history of the league because of the time and the way the offenses were run back then and what he was able to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to go through some of the names, and I have my idea. I have my player picked who I think is the greatest player to never win a Super Bowl, but I'll go through some of the names and mention a couple of things about him, and then you can share your thoughts on who you
Okay.
think is the greatest of all time. But it's a heck of a list. I mean, it's pretty amazing how many great players we've had, no matter what sport you're talking about. We're in this ring culture, right? Where, well, how many rings has he got? All I know is that every sport's got some phenomenal players who never won a championship for whatever the circumstances may be, but it shouldn't take away from their greatness.
Exactly. Some guys just aren't lucky enough to play for a great team or a great coach. They get stuck.
All right. Dick Butkus,
Yeah, pretty
one
good.
of the greatest players and greatest linebackers of all time who played for the Bears. He had a 9-year career, 8 Pro Bowls, and a 5-time All-Pro during his Hall of Fame career. That's pretty good. What do you remember about Dick Butkus?
one
Badass.
of the meanest men alive. Gosh, was he tough.
Running back Earl Campbell from the Oilers, one of the biggest bruisers in the history of the NFL.
Yes.
He led the NFL in rushing in each of his first 3 seasons, and he won Offensive Player of the Year in each of those years. The former Oilers and Saints running back's best season was 1980 when he led the NFL with 1,981 yards from scrimmage. And he played for not Wade Phillips, but the old Bum, Love You Blue, right?
Bum, yeah. He was played for the Bumster.
One of the greatest players I've ever seen with my own eyes, Eric Dickerson, Godfather.
Great ball carrier.
Incredible. He is still the single-season leading rusher, most yards in a season in history. And, of course, he was just unfortunately on teams that never had a chance to get there or really do much damage. He led the league in rushing 4 times. He won Offensive Player of the Year twice, and he was a 5-time All-Pro. One of the best runners I have ever seen. He was great with the Rams. He was great with the Colts. He was special.
Yes.
Did you enjoy watching him?
Yeah, all the way from college. He was in the pony backfield there.
The
at
high leg
SMU.
kick. Oh, he was getting paid big time at SMU.
Yeah, he did pretty well.
He was getting paid. They had an actual payroll going on if you watched that 30 for 30.
Yeah, well, the SMU got the death penalty for that.
They did. They got the death penalty for what all schools are doing now.
Yes.
Dan Fouts, one of your favorites, Godfather.
Yeah, he's one of the great quarterbacks.
Obviously set passing yardage records in 3 consecutive years from 79 to 81, made 6 Pro Bowls, and was first-team All-Pro twice. He won the 1982 AP Offensive Player of the Year and still ranked 17th all-time in passing yards.
And Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Now, did he have a chance? So he was those offensive teams back then were awesome. Don Coryell?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
there, Coryell. You remember the
Yeah.
big playoff game against Miami that they lost, or they probably would have gone to the Super Bowl.
And he played with Lance Allworth? Or
No,
was Allworth before
Lance
him?
was before him, yeah.
Antonio Gates, tight end for the Chargers. Tony Gonzalez. And we'll continue this list when we come back because
It's a longer list with some really good players.
yeah, it just goes to show you there are great players, elite Hall of Fame players who haven't won rings, and it doesn't detract from their greatness. And my dad was a big fan of both Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez, who victimized the Broncos year after year after year. You got the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. All right, Godfather, what I can gather in some of the messages I'm getting is a lot of people don't want to live in Florida no matter how many taxes they don't have or how much money they make. They just don't want any part of it.
Yeah, I get that. It's funny. I would have never I would have thought Florida would be at the bottom rather than the top.
I just think that a lot of these states now, if you have no state income tax,
Yep.
better home prices, and you have your economy, jobs, that's a big driver for a lot of these
It
places.
is. That's fair, too, because that's very important to some people.
I had enough of snakes and bugs and critters and all that stuff growing up in Oklahoma. That's why I like the Northwest. There's not a lot of nonsense out here when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I used to like going to Florida just because it was so completely different than Oregon. I mean, the birds, the bugs, everything. The
You see
people,
stuff that you would never see here.
the weather, everything
people.
is totally opposite here. It's a tropical climate, a lot of humidity, just different.
Aren't there some attractive people down there?
Yeah, it's like Arizona. I think you're not wearing clothes a lot, so you have to be more attractive.
I'm okay with that. I've never been to Florida. That's one state
Really?
I've not been to. The farthest south I've been is Georgia. I've yet to make it to Florida.
Well, you're close.
I thought Georgia was pretty nice. I just haven't had a reason to go to Florida yet. That's all. I would like to go.
Yeah, because, up around like Orlando, Tampa, that area is real nice. And then you get over to the coast in Clearwater, I always thought that was nice.
Yeah.
And then down to the Keys and Miami. And I stayed a week on a vacation once down in the Keys, and that was really fun.
I was talking about Florida this morning. The fairly attractive barista that made my 5-shot Americano this morning, she just got back and was telling me all about Orlando and Disney World and stuff. And I've never been there. So
what's fairly attractive? What does that mean, Chad?
smoking hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just didn't want to be too effusive with your praise.
That's correct. And so
Yeah.
when you ask me, I have to be honest. Yeah, she's fairly attractive. Yep. I wasn't expecting that when I walked into the old coffee shop this morning.
because that's the one you go to all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's not been there before?
But I was pretty happy about that.
I bet all those old guys you talk to every day are happy about it, too.
I think they were. I got there. Now, again, I was up early today, so
Yeah.
that shop opens up at 5, and I pulled in like at 5:01. So I'm still in a cobwebby,
Sure.
foggy state.
Semi-comatose.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
I just put Visine in my eyes before I left the house. Like, it takes me a minute to warm up, and I'm like, great, it's still dark outside, and I got to tee off in an hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to die. And it's one of those moments where I'm like really not really paying attention, and I walk up to get my coffee, and then I look up, and I'm like, good morning.
Well, you must have gotten somewhere because you were talking about her vacation, right?
Yeah.
In Florida?
She was very nice. She started talking, and
You
said,
started listening.
I did. I'm a good listener. What can I say?
Sometimes.
I like what I don't like. There's so many things about people I don't like, but I'm not one to. I don't like to over ask questions or be intrusive. I
Right.
just don't like to be that type of person.
I
I
get
also don't like to overshare because I know people that they can't help themselves. They have to get nosy and ask questions, and they're intrusive. And it's right away. It's like such a.
I get it.
It's like, what are you doing, man? Why are you asking me that? Because they just need details and they want to keep digging. And I don't like the digging. So I just kind of stand back. And if someone offers up information, I will work off of what they give me, but I'm not going to pry and be a weirdo like that. Because there's a lot of weirdos out there that like to ask too many things.
Yeah.
I just have to assume that if someone wants to tell me something, they'll tell me, right? And that's how that will go. And if not, I don't need to be the weirdo that's like, oh, well, what's up with that? And why did this happen? And blah, blah, blah. You ever notice that? You ever listen to someone, you're like, what's this guy doing right now?
Yeah.
You're like in public, I love listening and watching people because I'm always amazed at like, whoa, they actually do that.
Chad, the thing that drives me most crazy in this whole world, I'm sitting in a restaurant
Yeah.
and some guy was serving me. So, what do you got going this weekend?
Yeah.
What?
What do you care?
Kidding me? Like, if I were doing something, I wouldn't tell you. It's just nothing. Oh, you going to stick around home? No, I just said nothing.
You should say something wild just because you ask a ridiculous question. Be like, well, I'm a swinger, and we got a bunch of couples coming over to the house, and it's going to get wild because we're going to have like 50 naked people rolling around.
Yeah.
Outside of that, not much.
Yeah. just a usual weekend, right?
Yeah.
No, why would a guy that doesn't even know you ask you what's going on this weekend, what you're
No,
doing? It's
I
none
don't
of
know.
his business.
Well, but where did this stuff come from? Because why do we say like, hey, how's it going? Why do we ask that when we don't?
You don't care what's going, and you don't want to know, do you?
No.
Really?
No, I really don't. And neither do they.
No.
So why do we do that? Well, why do we feel the need to do that? Hey, how you doing today? What if they're having a crap day? So I don't like that question, so I try to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's the people that there's priors out there, the nosy people.
I would agree. Very nosy.
Yeah.
And I'm not anxious to share.
Yeah. Like sometimes I'll get that with like, you get paired up with someone like 2 questions and they're like, so are you married? Well, what do you care? You want my whole backstory right now?
Yeah, that's how, when you get asked, how's it going? And it's not going very well, that's the last question you want somebody to ask you.
I know.
Do you really want to know how it's going? Let me tell you how it's going. I just lost my job. You know?
Just unload
My
on 'em.
uncle just got arrested.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know?
I know. And then I had to get on my buddy Glenn, my playing partner Glenn. He likes to talk a lot. Great guy. But we were playing with a dude this morning that we don't know. And so he's stepping up, addressing his ball in the tee box. And Glenn's having this long conversation at a loud level about Steph Curry. And so finally, I can see the guy starting to get irritated because I'm paying attention to him because I'm like, Glenn, you got to shut your pie hole. So I see the guy step away from his ball, and I was like, Glenn, why don't you talk more during his
That's
swing here?
DEFCON 3 when they step away from the ball.
Yeah. And so I busted Glenn on that.
Yeah,
But-
you know better than to talk when Nancy's trying to hit the ball,
she gets
too.
pissed. Your wife.
She does not like people talking when she's trying to hit the ball. I don't blame her. That's kind of golf etiquette.
And your wife will tell them that, too.
Yeah, she's not shy about that at all.
No.
Yeah.
No. What I love about your wife, too, because she's a doctor, and she alerted me to this, so I knew that it takes place. But when we were getting ready for the tournament at the practice tee warming up, she gets the older ladies at the club to roll up on her.
Yeah.
And it happened to me right before we were to go out and play. I'm up, practice a few chip shots. And this old lady rolls up on her and starts talking to her about her doctor's appointment and what the doctor said and starts asking Nancy a bunch of questions. And I'm about to burst out in laughter because I know that Nancy hates that, right? Because she's getting ready to play golf. It's like, this is not the time or place for you to tell me about your doctor's appointment that, number one, I don't care about right now. And two, I'm not your doctor. So Nancy finally said, let's talk about that later. I'm trying to focus on golf. And then she was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then they smile and the cackle and they walk off. That's how that went down. But Nancy shut it down because she can do that. The problem is with me, I need to be more of an a-hole. And sometimes I get stuck in awkward situations because I'm too nice. And I don't know why I keep listening, but I should just be like, dude, I got to go, man. You're killing me right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to be having this conversation, but I can't do it. But Nancy did that. I don't want to talk about this right now. I'm trying to play golf.
Well, I think her job has reinforced her desire to be more direct because when you're a doctor, you have to be direct. I mean, you have to tell somebody if something's wrong. You can't sugarcoat that. You just have to be direct and say, here's what the deal is, and here's how we're going to handle it. This is it, So if you can do that with somebody, you can probably just say, hey, I don't want to talk to you right now.
Yeah. So the moral of this story is if your barista is smoking hot in the morning, it's not a bad thing.
You just go ahead and listen, right?
Just listen. Don't ask weird questions. Just listen. Oh, yeah, Disneyland, Disney World. Never been there. But she was telling me all about it and stuff, and I was like, that's cool. I was like, have a nice day. And then I walked out and started jamming my coffee. I'm like, I got to get amped up for a round of golf here. But I like the unexpected surprise because normally I see the same two at the certain time each day. So when you get the curveball surprise in there, it's like, oh, I didn't expect that. That's nice. Very enjoyable.
Well, good.
All right, back to our list, Godfather.
Yes. You got some players there to mention.
All right, here's the list. And if you have an idea, well, not an idea, just what's your take? Who do you think of this group is the best player in the history of the NFL to not win a Super Bowl? So let me recap on some of the guys we've already discussed. Linebacker Dick Butkus, who played for the Bears. Running back Earl Campbell, a big bruiser that played for Bum Phillips and the Houston Oilers during the Love You Blue days. Eric Dickerson, one of the greatest running backs of all time, also the single-season rushing leader in history. Dan Fouts, quarterback from Oregon, who played for the Chargers. And now Antonio Gates, tight end for the Chargers. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler, Godfather. 3-time All-Pro over 16 seasons. He ranks 7th all-time in receiving touchdowns. He's one of those prodigies that was a basketball player turned into tight end, much like we saw later with Julius Thomas.
Yes.
Great athlete who became a great player and forged a great relationship with Phillip Rivers. And you know how those tight ends work. When you can make yourself available to your quarterback and they find comfort in you like a security blanket, they're going to make you a lot of money because they're going to throw you the football all the time.
Yeah.
Good player. Tony Gonzalez, one of my dad's favorite non-Broncos of all time, one of the greatest tight ends ever, no doubt, making 14 Pro Bowlers, 6-time All-Pro, 17 years in the NFL, ranks 3rd all-time in receptions, and 6th in receiving yards.
He was also, by the way, a good basketball player.
Played Cal, right?
Yeah, he played in the NBA Summer League one year.
Good player. John Hanna, who was a guard for the Patriots, one of the greatest guards ever, maybe the best Godfather, 13 years in the NFL, 7-time All-Pro, 9-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, really good player.
Sonny Jorgensen, a 5-time Pro Bowler and 2-time All-Pro. Did not win a championship. His passer rating was the best of his era, and he's also a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Do you remember watching Jorgensen play?
Yeah, I do.
He had
Yeah.
sweet sideburns. I remember that from the NFL films.
Yeah, he was kind of like the guy, he kind of looked like the guy next door, lived next door, a little punchy, a little pouchy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Not chiseled.
Big chaw tobacco in his mouth, kind of talked a little country, and quite a guy, very popular with his teammates. I imagine he was probably pretty big drinker, would
Yeah.
be my guess.
Big locker room guy, buying drinks for the entire crew.
Yeah, that guy.
Jim Kelly, Buffalo
Oh,
Bills.
Big time.
All I
quarterback.
know is he quarterbacked his team to 4 straight Super Bowls. The fact that the Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls that's worthy of a trophy. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they lost him, but come on. I mean, they're good enough to get there 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
And really, they win one if the damn kicker could have kicked a field goal.
He made 5 Pro Bowls and first team All-Pro in 91. And he's also a Hall of Famer, also one of the toughest SOBs I've ever seen that play that position. And he did it and put up huge numbers playing in hideous weather, too.
Yeah, he played for Mouse Davis in the, what was it, the USFL?
That's correct.
One of those leagues.
Yeah, he didn't want to play in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So he went USFL. because
Houston Gamblers, I believe
That's
they
right.
were.
He was a Miami guy. Went to college at Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea
Very
of going
good
to
in college.
he was
yeah.
great in college. The idea of going to Buffalo, he's like, F that, man.
Yeah. It came a time, though, where he had no choice.
That's right. And ended up with a Hall of Fame career. Dan Marino. I mean, when you think about this would be my pick for the best quarterback to never win a Super Bowl. I love Kelly, but Dan Marino, in terms of accuracy, quick release, smarts, command of the huddle, there's nothing he couldn't do on a football field.
Yeah, big arm, too. Real big arm.
And if you go back in 1984, in his best year, his second season, in 84, he threw for over 5,000 yards and 48 touchdowns. It's tremendous. That is
48
unbelievable
touchdowns.
for 1984.
Yeah.
And Don Shula, I mean, they were running a big-time offense, and Clayton and Duper, and they were fun to watch.
And that was back in the day where most of the coaches were saying, we got to establish the run before we throw.
Morons.
Yeah.
Conservative. Big-time conservative. Other guys on the list, Bruce Matthews, who played multiple positions on the offensive line, incredibly durable, 14 Pro Bowls during his 19 NFL seasons, all Pro 7 times.
Oh.
He started 293 games, second in NFL history. That's badass right there.
Yeah, it is.
Randall McDaniel, who was an offensive guard for the Vikings, 14 seasons, 7-time All-Pro, 12 Pro Bowl invites. The Hall of Famer missed only 2 games during his career playing on the line. That's toughness. Warren Moon, former Husky, he won the CFL's Grey Cup 5 times, failed to win a Super Bowl. Moon did make 9 Pro Bowls, second all-team All-Pro in 1990, and he still ranks 11th all-time in passing yards and threw one of the prettiest balls I've ever seen.
People still talk about his arm strength.
Randy Moss, we got to be up there on the list. The guy's unbelievable.
Best receiver.
4-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, 14 seasons, led the league in touchdown receptions 5 times, and is now second all-time in that category. Moss played for the Patriots in 07 when they went 16-0, but lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. He was, I'll never forget his rookie season when he hit the league with the Vikings and Randall Cunningham. His size and speed, and he could do everything. And remember how jaw-dropping it was to see him out there in the field?
Oh, he was a freak.
This guy here, I've had the pleasure to meet one time when I was covering the Super Bowl down in Arizona. Anthony Munoz, who's considered the greatest offensive tackle of all time, 9-time All-Pro, 11-time Pro Bowler. He played in 2 Super Bowls, both against the 49ers with the Bengals, but was never able to win the big game. But if a coach is going to take out tape to teach offensive linemen, tackles, how to do their job, they're going to just go right to the Munoz tape. He's considered the best technician, the footwork, the smarts, the understanding. He could do it all. He's the best left tackle ever.
Critical position on the field, too.
And when I was introduced to him by Lo Neal, it was great. We went and sat down and had lunch. It was Lo Neal and Anthony Munoz and a couple others, but Munoz couldn't have been a more nicer, gentler human being. But when he shook my hand, my hand was swallowed by his hand. Those offensive linemen, Godfathers, you know, they're massive human beings.
Yeah, they are. Had he lost some of the playing weight when you met him?
He looked really good.
Yeah, they usually do that. I give them a lot of credit. They can take off 100 pounds.
A couple other guys here. Merlin Olsen, defensive tackle.
Oh, man.
For the Rams. He made an astounding 14 Pro Bowls, a 5-time All-Pro, and he appeared in 198 straight games playing on the defensive line for the Rams. And, of course, Merlin Olsen, not just a great football player, went on to become a phenomenal analyst working with Dick Enberg and doing TV for years, but also known for his acting job and was just a terrific, gentle soul in Little House on the Prairie, among other shows, too.
Yeah, he was in the Fearsome Foursome.
Yeah, and our good friend John Lund worked with his nephew on radio in Utah.
Oh, did he?
And John told me that when Merlin passed away, it was during the show. And so the rest of the show, his partner was in tears, but sharing great stories about Merlin because he was such a terrific human being. Also, Alan Page, defensive tackle for the Vikings, 9 Pro Bowls, won an MVP award, 15 seasons, never won a Super Bowl. Phillip Rivers is on the list, Godfather.
Yeah, by the way, the Vikings defensive front was the Purple People Eaters.
One of the greatest nicknames of all time.
Yeah.
And if you watch NFL films, you know. Phillip Rivers is on the list. Matt Ryan is on the list. And this is my pick right here for the greatest player to never win a Super Bowl, Barry Sanders, running back for the Detroit Lions. 10 years, walked out when he was absolutely on top. 6-time All-Pro, led the league in rushing 4 times. His peak year was 2,053 yards and 97, and he won the MVP that year. The reason why I picked Barry Sanders is that he's the best running back of all time, in my opinion. Never seen anything like him. He was the greatest college running back I've ever seen. Never seen anything like him. And he accomplished so much in a short career because he decided to walk out when he was on top. Yeah. Probably because he was frustrated for playing for the Lions for so many years, and they were a dumb organization. Mm-hmm. But Barry Sanders was a special player. That'd be my selection. Not far behind him on the list would be O.J. Simpson. 5 All-Pro in 5 consecutive seasons. Rushed for 2,003 yards in only 14 games in 73, winning MVP. Wow. And he still ranks 21st on the all-time rushing list. Orenthal, not a good guy. Hacked a couple of people, but in terms of football.
Yeah, not with a computer either.
He was unbelievable. The 2,000 yards in 14 games is off the charts.
Chad, he's the best running back I've ever seen in person.
You saw him against Oregon State, right?
Yeah, I saw him a couple of times, but I was there when the Giant Killers beat USC and OJ. He is a tremendous running back. The only better one I've seen was only on television, Jimmy Brown. Jimmy Brown was incredible.
O.J. Simpson, Bruce Smith, Fran Tarkenton, Joe Thomas, offensive tackle for the Browns, and J.J. Watt, defensive end for the Texans. That's your list. So who would you choose as the best player not to win a Super Bowl?
There's so many. I would probably say O.J. Simpson. Yeah, that's who I'd say. But I have no quarrel with anybody saying Barry Sanders either. What a terrific runner he was.
You still got to go back. I encourage any of you who maybe you're just younger and didn't get a chance to watch him, just pull up his 1988 stats at Oklahoma State in his Heisman year in college.
Yeah, but pull up. You could see video of him. Watch his jump cuts where it looks like he almost vanishes from the picture. and guys just go to tackle him and get nothing.
He could come to a stop and then accelerate to full speed in just a moment.
Yeah.
What a crazy guy he was. The Oklahoma State Cowboys at the same time had Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas on their team at the same time.
Yeah.
Not bad. All right, we'll keep things rolling. You got the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. Hey, Godfather, how about this tweet from Andrew Brandt in regards to the New York Jets being the Jets? He says, last year the Jets traded the first-round swap and 2 first-round picks for a player no one else was trying to trade for and was never going to play for the Packers again. This year the Jets trade a third, could be a second, for a player that won't show up without a contract that they won't give him. That's the Jets right there.
That is such a summation of what the New York Jets are. That's what they are.
A joke.
Bumblers.
They're bumblers.
Buffoons.
That's a deal. And from everyone we've talked to, and you know how this business works, right?
Yeah.
Before the trade is done, you have the parameters of a contract in place. Now, as you pointed out, the Jets are saying that the agent has moved the goalpost on them. They had the parameters to a deal agreed
Supposedly.
to. And he's moved the goalpost. But, look, they all know what the numbers are. And it's not like the agent's going to throw a massive curveball and ask for some type of ridiculous number well and above market value. He's not going to do that.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, they need to expose the agent because that's unethical conduct, and they could ruin the guy.
Yeah. So I find it hard to believe that the agent's going to do monkey business like that. My guess is this is just the Jets. Again, we have a long track record of history here with the Jets. They're known for not doing good business, and that's why they've been a bad franchise for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
It's just embarrassing, man, especially when you got Aaron Rodgers. They've got a lot of talent on the team. They got a chance to be really good, and Reddick is a difference maker because he can cause havoc in breaking up the pocket and putting pressure on the quarterback, which you need in the NFL. Just get the deal done.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You want to be good or not? You want to go to the Super Bowl?
Or maybe Reddick got there, realized what the Jets were all about. Was like, man, I got to get me out of here.
Well, they're almost in the same situation as the 49ers are with Ayuk. It's like,
all
pay
in.
the man. Just pay the man.
And deal with the consequences later. The Jets, it's all about right now. You may only have Aaron Rodgers for 1 year. You might as well go all in and just push all chips in the middle. What else are you going to do?
Yeah, what's it all about? If it's not about winning this year, what is it about? What are you trying to do here?
What's your biggest concern with them right now? Is it the health of Aaron Rodgers, or is it the front office, or the head coach?
Well,
or Nathaniel Hackett?
Yeah, that's part of the problem. In the near term, Chad, I would say it's all on Aaron Rodgers. Not only his health, can he stay healthy, but what did it cost him to miss all of last year at his age?
Yeah.
I think for a younger guy to miss a year, it's a little different. But, you know, the energy situation, how he's going to be in another, I have no idea what we're going to see in him. He'll be just as smart, if not smarter, but can he execute like he did? Can he evade the rush?
Yeah.
All those things are an issue.
I would agree with you because great quarterback play can wash and cover many sins.
Mm-hmm.
So if Aaron Rodgers is terrific, he can work through a dumb head coach or a front office that's a bit
at
foolish.
least this year, that's their concern, right? I mean, after that, they're going to have a lot of concerns if he leaves because they're going to be totally without a quarterback.
All right, let's take a listen to Steve Kerr talking about leadership. This is a good one here.
I think it's just it's a good way to sort of open everything up and let everyone know right away that we don't have all the answers. Nobody does, and so let's work through this together. And if there's a good idea that comes up, whoever offers it, great. Let's utilize it. And so I try to do that a lot with my players. So sometimes during a timeout, I'll come over and instead of saying, hey, we're going to do this, I might say, hey, what do you guys think about trapping so-and-so on the next pick and roll? And it's especially good with Draymond because Draymond is a thinker. And he will sometimes say, no, I don't think it's a good idea, and we won't do it. And I think he respects that. And in a strange way, you gain more respect as a leader when you admit that you don't know everything. And that when you sort of let somebody else make a decision, makes you more powerful.
Hard to argue with that.
Yeah, he's a smart man.
He is. I remember reading a book that was written by Billy Graham, the great Reverend. And he said that when he was younger in his life, because everyone looked to him for guidance, he felt the need to give an answer on everything, right? But he said as he aged and got older, he became comfortable with telling someone, I don't know.
Yeah.
Same thing, right? That's leadership. I don't know the answer to that. A lot of times my dad will do that. If I ask him a tough one, he'll be like, I don't know. Let me think on that, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Because he wants time to think and do a little research before he gives some type of half-cocked answer, right? And I thought I like that with Kerr. If you got an experienced group, guys who have been there and done that, why not ask them sometimes, like, what do you guys think about this?
Not only that, even if they're not experienced, to ask them what they think causes them to think about it. And maybe somebody comes up with an idea or they don't, but at least you get them thinking about the decision.
Wouldn't that help them become better players?
Absolutely would. Absolutely.
All right, today is left-handed day.
Yes. This is a big day for all the lefties out there, all the southpaws.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to celebrate. Any of you southpaws out there,
Yeah.
this
Port
one's
ciders.
for you.
Yeah.
What do you call them?
Port ciders.
This one's for you. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Now 5 o'clock. The Trailblazers in-season tournament schedule has been announced. They will be in Group A and host the Minnesota Timberwolves November 12th at Moda Center. Tip-off is at 7. They will also face the Rockets, Kings, and Clippers. From the NFL, Vikings rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy will undergo surgery on his knee to repair a torn meniscus that he suffered in Saturday's preseason game against the Raiders. Harbaugh will no longer serve as Michigan's honorary captain for their home opener against Fresno State as he prepares the Chargers for their season opener. And the Mariners open up a 9-game road trip today in Detroit. Right now, they trail 11-1 in the top of the 5th. More of the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad coming at you right now. We got a 4-pack of tickets for the Hillsboro Hops for your chance to sit in the Rip City Radio Row. We'll give those away next, and we'll get to your phone calls. All right, if you would like to have a 4-pack of tickets to sit in the Rip City Radio Row for the Hillsboro Hops, call now, 503-248-0620, 503-248-0620. Fire away with your phone calls right now, 503-248-0620.
Any particular cities, Chad, that should be calling?
I don't have the energy or the might to do it right now, Godfather.
I know what you mean. Some days that voice just won't handle it.
I got to
right?
protect myself. Call now, 503-248-0620.
McMinnville! Represent!
Salmon Creek, react to us. Hazeldell, Battleground. I want to hear from a Hops fan. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. I'm always trying to find, where did my parents take off to? Oh, Tootle. They went up to Tootle, Washington.
Like Tootle Lake?
Yeah, Tootle Lake.
Oh.
They're up there camping. They're going to enjoy
Tootaloo.
some time. Bremerton. I think that's where Kaylee's at right now in summer camp.
Puyallup!
All right. You can enjoy a 4-pack of tickets for the Hops. Dang it. We had a gentleman that wanted to comment on the list of NFL players, the top players not to win a Super Bowl, and he dropped off. Let's go out and talk with Raider Mike right now. Raider Mike, welcome to the show, my friend. What's up? Fire away.
What's up, my man? How you been?
It's all good.
Godfather, how you been?
All right, good. Thanks for asking.
Wood Village,
Yeah, there you
What
go.
village?
Zigzag,
Gresham.
Rhododendron, White Salmon,
White salmon.
Goldendale.
Yeah, Wishram.
Where you guys at, man? Anyway, it's time to pay the fiddler, Chad. It is. I'm gonna let you wear Devontae. You need to schedule the round out at our club, Forest Hills.
Okay, what are the days you can play,
And
though?
you're probably- Wednesday. Well, if it's in the morning, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
In
So
which I want it to be anyway.
Okay, hold on.
Because I don't work till 1.
Okay, let's
So
do
if
it
we
on
got
Friday.
a 7 o'clock round, we're good.
Okay, well, then Friday's the
Friday?
date. Friday's the date, and I'll tell you the tea time right now. Friday.
Okay.
Let's see here. Friday, 6:40. Friday at 6:40.
Perfect. Can my cousin come? Do we have room?
Wait a second. Is this like a family affair now? You see what happens,
No,
Godfather? Yes, your cousin can come.
No,
Bring
I
the cousin.
wanted the Godfather.
No, bring
with
the
us,
cousin.
too.
I've got the
Okay.
tea times already set. Just bring your cousin, and we'll have a big old. It'll be one big.
You going to go to Chuck E. Cheese after you play?
Yeah, we might. Yeah, bring him.
No, we're not, Chad. We're not going to do that.
Friday's the day. Friday's the day. Let's do it.
Rock and roll. 6. I'll be there at 6 a.m. sharp.
If
And
I
my
can,
cousin
if I
will
can
too,
break
but,
80 in a Raider jersey, I'll be doing something there, Godfather.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, that would be epic. That would be epic.
I
And
agree.
I'm not giving you Carr. I'm gonna give you Devontae, brand new.
That's
Brand
fine.
new jersey. You don't
Well,
get to keep it.
It's all the same. I don't have all the Raider players are in the same category as far as I'm concerned. So whatever you want to give me is fine. I would prefer a Marcus Allen jersey, but if I have to go Devontae, that's fine.
That is in the Gulf of Mexico with all my vintage jerseys.
Of course.
I lost about 10 grand worth of jerseys on that hurricane.
All right.
which is horrifying. But anyway, let's talk football. Your boy looks good. He did.
And you talking about Bo
I'm not
Nix?
gonna deny it. Of course.
It was nice. I enjoyed watching him play,
You
and he'll
haven't
get
had
to
a
start
Bo
Sunday
Nix
against the Packers.
Update in a couple days.
Yes,
Anyway,
he
no,
did.
he looked good. I hated McCarthy going down like that. That's just sucks. I hate when an injury to a young quarterback happens like that. But it's minor, I think. And then we got to open against the Chargers. And have you ever had plantar fasciitis?
Not that I'm aware of. I've heard of
How
athletes
about
that
you,
have had it.
Godfather?
You ever had plantar fasciitis?
Yeah,
Godfather?
mild case. It went away in a month or so.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, it is.
I've had it a couple of times. It's I don't know how you can play on that. I really don't. But we have to go to the Ravens next game. But I love this season. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a great season finally. And finally, there's no drama in Vegas for the first time in I can't remember.
Okay.
can't
I'll see,
remember.
I'll see you on Friday. I'm not going to listen to your Raider myopia, Mike. Friday, 6:40. I'll wear the Devontae Adams Raider jersey, and then I'll go out there and see if how much that impacts my play. There you go. It's not going to be a great season, Mike. The Raiders suck, okay? Let me explain that to you. They don't have a quarterback. They don't really have a coach that we're aware of because I'm not sure he can get the job done. Forget about it, man. They have some pieces that I like, but no quarterback equals no wins. You're not going anywhere. The Broncos will finish ahead of the Raiders in division with a rookie quarterback.
I'm just glad to hear that you're finally playing so that we can kind of stop these calls where he's trying to get you to play.
Well, the problem is, like he told me before in the Times, it's like
I know.
Wednesday's my workout day, so I can't play on that day.
Yeah.
And then but I can play on the weekend. I'm pretty much a snob now. Like doing weekend golf is not cool. Weekend golf is
No, it's
at a public course is different than being now. If I get the invite from Nancy to come out and play at the country club on a Saturday or Sunday, I'm in.
by the way, there's a big sale going on now for membership. You can get in a little bit cheaper out there than what it normally is.
How do the current members like it when people get in for cheaper?
I'm not sure about that.
Check on that and get back to me.
I'm not sure. but I figured you'd want to join just because it's so convenient to where you live. You know?
Yeah. It's only an hour away.
Yeah.
It's amazing that we couldn't live on two more opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of the area, right? It's crazy. All right, let's talk about this because I'm fascinated by this. But your dad and my dad share something in common, and today is left-handed day or Southpaw Day, or what exactly are they calling it?
It's
Left-handed
left-handed
day?
Yeah,
To
left-handed
celebrate
day.
those with the left hand.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a list of left-handed musicians that we'll get to in just a moment. But so my Nana, she told me that my dad was born left-handed.
Mhm.
And this was during a time when the world was not really set up for lefties, right?
Yeah.
And she told me that lefties were also considered a little bit weird back then. So from an early age, when she realized that he was left-handed, she just started forcing him to do everything right-handed. And so my dad is now, as he's gotten older, he does most things right-handed, but he's truly ambidextrous. He can do anything with right or left. But your dad's the same thing.
Yeah, in school, he wanted to write with his left hand, and the teachers would not allow it. He had to learn how to write right-handed because in those days, writing was a big deal. That was like a class. You had to be able to print and to write in cursive well because, in general, that was the only way people communicated.
Interesting.
And so, and so he became kind of right-handed. He threw a baseball right-handed, but he did a lot of things left-handed. I think ambidextrous, like your father. And but see, Chad, I always heard that messed people up in those days. To take people who were naturally left-handed, make them right-handed, that did something to them psychologically. I don't think it had any impact on my dad, but I did hear that. And I could see it. I mean, that's a big part of,
The only thing that's a little weird about me is that I'm right-handed, but I kick a ball with my left foot.
No,
I'm
really?
a left footer. Yeah. I'm a lefty.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm always partial to left-footed kickers. Like if I see a left-footed field goal kicker or a punter, I feel a certain kinship with them.
Huh.
I'm like, oh, I get you. But it's weird. I've always kicked with my left foot. And, of course, I suck at sports, but I always kick with my left foot.
Were you a good kicker? Could you have kicked field goals? Or
No, I can't.
extra
I
points?
could barely get the ball off the
Well,
ground.
that's because you were kicking with the wrong leg. Did you ever think about that?
Yeah, wait. But if you saw me kick with my right foot,
Oh,
you'd be
it
like,
would've been
oh,
worse.
boy, yeah, it'd be a lot worse.
Yeah.
But this is something I'm fascinated by because I wonder, does anyone know if there's a connection between being a lefty and being a genius, right? Because this list of great musicians who are lefties, Tony Lamy, who I don't know. Who's that?
I don't know.
Jimmy
Tony Lamy?
Lommi. Who is that?
No idea.
Are you messing with me or do you know? Because
No,
I figured
honestly,
you
I
would
have
know.
no idea. I've never heard of Tony Lamy. This is musicians, right?
Yes.
Huh.
All right, let's see here. English musician. Let me see here real quick. Anthony Frank Lamy is an English musician. He co-founded the pioneering heavy metal band Black Sabbath.
Oh, huh. Big band. I'm not a fan, but it's,
No, I just don't. I'm not down with their music.
Yeah.
Whatever. But that's awesome. Okay, so Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
One of the greatest guitar players of all time. And, of course, we know
genius.
musical genius. But, again, quickly, the story, Joe Walsh had a chance to meet him backstage because he was playing at an event where Hendrix was playing. It was like a triple headliner, right? And he went backstage, and they were comparing notes because he was trying to figure out how Hendrix got the guitar to sound the way that it did. And that's when he realized what was going on. Hendrix, a left-handed guy, was playing a right-handed guitar because they didn't make left-handed guitars back then. He was playing it upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, he was able to get a sound and do things that were blowing other musicians away. But that's what it was. He was a left-handed dude playing a guitar upside down.
And Hendrix did things with the guitar that other guitar players had never done. There's all kinds of stories. One of the guys from ZZ Top spent a whole night with him trying to learn some things that Hendrix was just doing naturally. Hadn't even thought that he might be the only guy doing that. But he was an incredible guitar player. It's a shame people now haven't really had a chance to hear him in person.
All right, next on the list, left-handed musicians to celebrate International Left-Handers Day. Elliot Easton is an American musician who is best known as the lead guitarist and backing vocalist for the American New Wave band The Cars. Now, I love The Cars, and they got some great songs. I did not know that Elliot Easton was a part of that. You like The Cars?
Yeah.
Also on the list, Dwayne Allman,
Oh, yeah.
Kurt Cobain, Albert King.
Oh, yeah.
Who's Albert King?
Blues singer.
Paul McCartney, Dick Dale,
Dick Dale and the Deltones.
Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits.
Dire Straits, yeah.
Well respected, love him.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Tim Armstrong,
Don't know him.
but do you see what I'm saying here? We're talking about some high level musicians. So Armstrong, musician, songwriter, and record producer, known for his distinctive voice. He is the singer and guitarist for the punk rock band Rancid
Yeah.
and hip hop punk rock supergroup Transplants.
Uh,
Next on the list, Stuart Copeland from The Police,
yeah.
David Bowie,
He's
Bun
left-handed.
E. Carlos. Who's that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, do you?
No?
Yeah, I'm supposed to know.
Bun E. He's a drummer.
Oh.
Cheap Trick.
Oh.
Phil Collins, one of my absolute favorites.
I didn't know he was left-handed.
I am very partial to anyone that can drum and sing at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Billy Corgan.
Yeah. Billy Corgan is, what's that group? Famous group. Come on.
You got to be better than that, Godfather. Oh, Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah. He owns a wrestling promotion, too.
He
He's
does.
a big pro wrestling fan.
I think he was on, was it Rogan? I heard an interview with him.
Stern
Fascinating
has
guy.
had him on many times.
Yeah, I
Howard
like
likes
him a
him.
lot. And Elvis Costello, great songwriter.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty good list.
It is.
High level list, all lefties.
makes you wonder if a bunch of these. I wonder if a bunch of these scientists were left-handed too, like like Einstein or somebody like that.
See, if I were left-handed, would I be more than just a scrub radio host in Portland?
Yeah, you might be just a mediocre radio host.
See, that's the problem,
Yeah,
man.
that'd
Dang
be an
righty.
upgrade.
All right, we'll keep things rolling. We're going to come back, and Dan Orlovsky put out his rankings for quarterbacks. It's a great list. We'll break through it. We'll work through it and share our thoughts. And the different categories that he has to assess the quarterbacks is really awesome. We'll talk about that next. You got the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. And by the way, happy left-hander days to all the lefties out there.
Sandy Koufax.
All right, Godfather. I will say this. I'm having a conversation back and forth with a listener from the 503, and I asked him, I said, why are lefties smarter? Like, I'm curious. And his response was, because we have to adapt to and overcome a world designed by and for right-handed clowns, a smiley face, but went on to say everything is designed for right-handed people. A lefty has to either figure out how to do everything with their offhand or figure out how to use things backwards and or upside down. And I wonder if there is something to that where you have to overcome a little bit more so you're involving different aspects of your brain and stuff. I'm curious about that. I'm not even joking.
Yeah. I remember in baseball, we used to tell kids it's harder to be a left-handed pitcher because you're throwing against the natural rotation of the earth. Which meant nothing, but it was fun to say.
But I got to be honest with you. I can't look at a left-handed person swing a golf club. I got paired up with a lefty the other day, and I had to look away every time they swung the club because it's all backwards. And I think about the golf swing so much that I don't want something that's the exact opposite of what I do entering into my brain. I don't need weird thoughts, left-handed swings, any of that stuff. Even the way the ball comes off, like, is that a slice or would they call that a hook? Like, I can't do it, man.
That's weird to me.
Yeah, well, that's just add that to the list, Godfather.
Yeah.
Add that to the list. And you're right, a left-handed quarterback like Steve Young was awesome. I love Steve Young.
Uh-huh.
But you're right. We were talking about this. Every time a left-handed quarterback threw the football, they didn't have a power arm. It's all loopy and stuff. It's weird.
It always seemed to me that they did not throw the ball as hard as right-handed quarterbacks. I don't know if that's optical illusion or what.
Huh. I don't know what to say about this, Godfather. Let's ask Rabbi Google. Are left-handed people
Rabbi
smarter?
Google.
All right. Let's see here. Many studies have mixed results on whether left-handed people are smarter than right-handed people. And some researchers conclude that there's no difference in intelligence between the two groups. A 2015 study that combined results from over 30 previous studies found no link between handedness and verbal ability, but did find a small advantage for right-handers in spatial ability. A 2017 study published in Neuroscience and Behavioral Reviews, well, that sounds like a read.
Yeah.
Found that right-handers had slightly higher IQs than left-handers, but the difference was too small to have a real-world effect. And then a 2018 study found a moderate positive correlation between left-handedness and IQ, but a negative correlation between left-handedness and memory. That tells me nothing.
So they have a high IQ, but they can't remember it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
I knew the answer to that, but I forgot.
Yeah, I'm really smart. What's your IQ? I don't remember. Okay. There you go. I don't know. It's interesting, but man, that's a wild list of musicians. I still think it's amazing Jimi Hendrix playing the guitar upside down. How's that guy make that sound? Oh, because you're not even, you're left-handed.
But, being left-handed, and he picked up a guitar and he realized, I mean, nobody probably ever, he was self-taught. Nobody ever said, this is the way you hold it.
Yeah, that's the thing. A guy like Jimi Hendrix is not taking musical lessons, right?
You can't see him down in the basement of some guy's house. No, Jimmy, you got to start here. Put your fingers here. I don't think that was the way it went.
No, he probably just picked it up and figured it out.
Yeah, somewhere he got his hands on one and just started playing it. So he wouldn't know what was right or wrong.
No, Jimmy, your hand position's wrong on that.
That's why he came up. Trust me, he played a lot of weird sounds and chords and stuff that nobody had ever played.
No, he's a unique.
Yeah.
A savant. A guitar genius. I mean, when Eric Clapton is pulling over on the side of the road to just sit and listen to you because he never heard anything like that come from a guitar, that means you're pretty good.
Yeah, and I think, without formal training, there's a chance of those kinds of things happening. The formal training you get in the lessons trains all that out of you, all that individualism. You get taught to play the guitar the same way everybody else plays it, right?
Yeah. Michael McDonald was not taught how to play the keyboards. He figured it out on his own. And that's how he came up with that sound he makes. Even Kenny Loggins has talked about it, where when Loggins made his own version of What a Fool Believes, it didn't do as well. And he goes, the problem is that I couldn't get the sound. He goes, I should have had Michael play the keyboards for that song. Because he played his style is unlike anybody else. So you can't mimic what he does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's fascinating to me. By the way, I was talking with Shacker earlier. McDonald is going to be up at the RV In-Style Resorts Amphitheater here in a few weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just a few minutes from where I live. Do you know, like what they do with the Hops and like the Winterhawks, the host families?
Yeah.
Do they have host families for rock and roll bands? Because I would like to offer my home to Michael McDonald. He can come in, stay with me for the night, and I'll make sure that he's well taken care of and well rested for the show. Can you do that? Host families for rock and roll bands.
Yeah, in hockey they call them the billets. You're a billet if you host the guy for the whole season. I think if Mike McDonald was going to stay with somebody, he might choose somebody of the female persuasion to stay with.
No. He's married, happily married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure he's a rock and roller.
No, he's married because I had an interview lined up with him not too long ago, and he had to back out at the last minute, so they offered me his wife, who's like a musician as well.
Really?
And I'm like, no, I'm good. So I turned it down. I'm like, I don't want to talk to her. I want to talk to Mike.
That might have been interesting, though, to find out what it was like to live with a musical genius.
Yeah, but it irritated me because Michael McDonald's like one of my guys, right?
Yeah.
And I know his wife. I've seen some interviews with her. I know her story. She's a very nice lady, but
Singer?
she can do a little bit of everything. Songwriting, singing. Yeah, they're a perfect match. But she's not him, and I wanted to talk to him. He's on my list. I like him a lot. But I was just saying, host family, man. I would do that. I should hit up the amphitheater and be like, hey, if any of your rock and roll stars that come in need a place to stay.
I'm sure they couldn't afford a hotel.
I don't know what they do. Like, do they stay at the
probably
hotel?
stay at Elene, I bet.
They could stay at Illinois, or they might stay on, some of those have the pimp out tour buses too.
Yeah, that's true.
I would imagine some of those tour buses they got are like, I don't know what the accommodations are like, but I would imagine it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
All right, enough of that nonsense. I had an idea and you poo-pooed it real quick, so there you go.
Sorry.
It's like I hate that. It's like, oh, Mike can't make the interview, but we're happy to offer up his wife. Like, who? I'm sorry, no, that doesn't work for me. That's like having an interview lined up with Michael Jackson. Like, he can't make it, but we got Tito for you. Yeah, let me jump on that.
Yeah, Tito.
Yeah, what's it like being the nobody in the family?
Yeah.
Good, huh? Okay, Dan Orlovsky. Do you like Dan Orlovsky, ESPN?
I do.
Former UConn quarterback?
He's a little bit of a contrarian, and I kind of like him for that. He doesn't always follow the ESPN party line.
That's true. I like him. I think he does a good job. And he did fart on the McAfee show, which...
Yeah, he denied it, but he did.
Yeah, it was great. We watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you fart on national radio, I'm going to have a hard time not loving you for some reason.
And you're certainly willing to replay it as long as you can.
I love a guy who he absolutely farted and then just flat out tried to deny it.
Have you still got that in your computer?
It's somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, well,
What did he try to blame it on the windshield wipers? That's some bullcrap.
Something like that. Yeah,
we'll get to that before the end of the show.
Yeah, because that's a proper introduction for him, I think.
All right, here's what he said in this piece he wrote. The NFL is loaded with talent at quarterback from Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson to the rookies who haven't even taken a regular season snap yet, but who are the top signal callers in specific areas of the game. Who really excels in one aspect of his play and stands above the rest? To answer that question, I decided to stack the best of the best in 7 different traits: arm strength, ball placement, mechanics, decision-making, pocket presence, rushing ability, and second reaction creativity. These top 10 lists are based on current performance and expectations for the 24 season, how I would rank the quarterback group at this moment in each skill. Let's start with the most powerful arms. So let's go through the list here. Not really too much of a surprise here. Patrick Mahomes is number 1 on the list for arm strength.
Chad, that surprised me because he's the best quarterback. I know that. He didn't strike me as the guy that had the biggest arm of all. I would have thought Josh Allen was first.
Okay, well, let me just give you a little highlight to look up in your own time. Put in Patrick Mahomes preseason Falcons, and he unloaded a 70-plus yard bomb on the money for a touchdown. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, great. Not only is he the most phenomenal quarterback in the game, but his arm strength is limitless. I look at him and Josh Allen as the same. They're both their arms are absolutely absurd. Josh Allen, number 2. You probably would have had Allen, number 1. Herbert, 3. Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Will Levis. He's got the biceps. Baker Mayfield, Anthony Richardson, who's built like a tank. Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
He says, to put together the first list, I weighed two components of having a big arm. First, there's the obvious one, being able to throw the ball far downfield. We're talking about completing passes of 55 to 60 yards. Second, there's the ability to fit the ball into tight windows with zip. So there you go. Next up in his next category is ball placement. So for arm strength, the top three, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. For ball placement, Joe Burrow, Tua, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, C.J. Stroud, and Brock Purdy, number 6 on the list. Josh Allen is number 10, Goff 9, Prescott 8, and Geno Smith 7. He says there's a difference between accuracy and ball placement. Accuracy is the ability to throw the ball to your guy, while ball placement is keeping it away from the defender. I didn't understand the difference until he explained that to me.
Yeah, it makes sense, though. Yeah, that's like in baseball, it's control and command. Yeah, control is throwing the fastball over the plate. Command is hitting the inside corner of home plate.
Okay, that makes sense. Accuracy is the ability to throw the ball to your guy, while ball placement is keeping it away from the defender. Joe Burrow, he's known for accuracy and ball placement, and he's right at the top of the list there, so no surprise. Mechanics, Joe Burrow, number 1, Matthew Stafford, number 2, Justin Herbert, 3, followed by Stroud, Prescott, Jared Goff, and Tua. Rodgers, Purdy, and Lawrence round out the top 10. And according to Orlovsky, he says, who is a natural thrower, who has the best footwork, who moves well within the pocket and always plays in rhythm. It all factors into mechanics. When things are clean, I'm looking for a repetitive throwing motion. And when things aren't clean, I'm looking for the ability to make it work because of a strong base. And you hear about the quarterback's base all the time. So Burrow, Stafford, Herbert. Any surprises there for you, Godfather?
No. I'm just seeing a trend here, and I haven't looked at it this close before. I'm just kind of surprised to see Dak Prescott is in the top 10 in every category. He really is, and that impresses me. He's not up in the top 5 all the time, but he's there, which means
impressive. He's doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Decision-making with the football. Aaron Rodgers, number 1. Stafford, 2. Joe Burrow, 3. Followed by Stroud, Purdy, Love, Mahomes. Prescott, Goff, and Cousins round out the top 10. According to Orlovsky, quarterbacks have to be able to read the defense and recognize what it is trying to get him to do with the ball and what it is trying to keep him from doing. Then they need to be able to figure out whether their first read is going to work given what the defense is showing. If the play calls for a throw to your top receiver on a slant route, would making that throw be a good or a bad decision based on the coverage and how the defense is lined up? And that's really what quarterbacking is all about, right? Yeah. What's the play? Who's my number 1 receiver? What's my progression? And will that play work? I don't know how they figure that crap out, to be honest with you. It's amazing what they have to process when they step up to the line of scrimmage.
It has to, at some point, turn into almost instinctiveness, I think.
But not a surprise to see Rodgers at the top of that list based on his experience and ability. Orlovsky says Rodgers is the best in the game here. Yes, he threw 12 interceptions in his last full season, but before that season, he hadn't thrown double-digit picks in a season since 2011. Wow, that's pretty good. Pocket presence, Godfather. Mahomes, Burrow, Stroud, Stafford, Jackson. Followed by Purdy, Love, Allen, Smith, and Prescott. And in regards to pocket presence, he says a quarterback with strong pocket presence operates effectively in the pocket even when things are chaotic around him. This is something that I think is well, let's just take an example. Russell Wilson, one of the big things that Sean Payton hated about his game last year was that when things got a little messy in the pocket, his eyes would look at the rush instead of downfield. But the best quarterbacks that I've seen, like Tom Brady, no matter what was going on around him, he would move within the pocket, feel the rush, but his eyes were always downfield. I don't know how guys can do that, how you can feel the rush but not be worried about it, knowing you got a 300-pounder breathing down your neck. Isn't that impressive?
Yeah, it is. I think peripheral vision must have something to do with that.
Yeah. And I wonder, Mahomes, there's times where it's like, how does he know?
Yeah.
How did he feel? I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
It's like a sixth sense or something.
Amazing to me, too, that Stroud is so high in all these categories after just 1 year in the league.
I love what he says here. He says a quarterback with a strong pocket presence operates effectively in the pocket when things are chaotic around him. Can he recognize and avoid pressure? Can he move efficiently and calmly under duress? When I built this top 10, I looked for those who were at their best when the situation was at its worst. Rushing ability, no doubt who's going to be number one here, Lamar Jackson, followed by Josh Allen, Anthony Richardson, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Patrick Mahomes, Dak, Joe Burrow, 8th on the list here, Kyler Murray, and Trevor Lawrence.
I'm surprised Kyler Murray wasn't a little higher.
I would say so. He said in 2015, there were 384 designed QB runs league-wide. Last season, there were 832.
Whoa.
And he says that was actually down from 919 in 2022. Next up, second reaction ability. Being able to make a play is central to QB success, and the best in the league excel at making off-schedule and off-platform throws. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy is 4th.
Purdy is 4th. That's pretty amazing.
Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Gardner Minshew, and Justin Herbert 10th on the list. But Brock Purdy 4th on the list. That's impressive. I like how he broke it down through his eyes as a quarterback, Godfather.
Yeah, those are all interesting traits. He picked good traits to judge them on.
What's up, Michael?
What
Maybe I
a
should.
song this
I
is.
know.
Come on.
Maybe I should have interviewed his wife.
Does he sing to you at home? I could see asking her that.
If I was married to Michael McDonald, I would ask and request that he serenade me every day.
Yeah. A cappella.
This is a great song right here.
It is.
But no one sounds like him. He's a unique. I love this song. All right, we'll come back. High fives. Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad.
You
I'll tell you what, if you want to make a commercial break flyby, just watch Leslie Nielsen videos, man. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man.
The Leslie Nielsen, you got to look this up on YouTube, but Leslie Nielsen with the fart machine on various talk shows is absolutely incredible.
Yeah. On the Letterman show, it's pretty good.
Oh. I needed that so much. You got any high fives you want to hand out?
Yeah.
Who's deserving?
I should give it to Leslie Nielsen, but cut it out, Checker. That's not an official high five. It's not designated. Yeah.
I'm going to give mine to all left-handers. I feel like they deserve it. For them to overcome a world that's catered to right people, right-handed people.
Right people.
This show's out the rails now.
Yeah.
This is what we were laughing about right here. This is
Please do it.
yeah, we're going to do it. This is Leslie Nielsen with his fart machine doing an interview, and he just kept busting out farts, and the guy who was interviewing couldn't believe it.
Excuse me. I don't know whether I can do this. I'll do the best I can, though.
All right. We're getting near lunch, and I know you're a little...
Well, it was the salmon. Sometimes you just get a wrong piece of salmon.
Was that you?
Well, I don't see anybody else in here who's going to be doing it. Excuse me. But you can show it. I don't care. I just don't care anymore. These things don't bother me.
All right. Well, then we'll start now, then we'll begin.
Did you hear the starter pistol? Keep your ears open.
All right. Now we'll begin.
That's for me, too, right? I'm beginning.
Talking with Leslie Nielsen.
Yes.
Plays the president.
Yes.
What's different about you and the real president?
Nothing, just maybe one or two things. You're going to be great.
You know, I wanted to keep this serious.
Yes, I know. I'm helping.
Dude, his ability to deliver and keep the deadpan is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the secret of the whole Naked Gun thing, was delivering those lines with a straight face.
The original Naked Gun movie is one of the greatest comedies I've ever seen. It's just constant laughter.
Yeah, one right after another. It's incredible.
And I got to give props to Priscilla Presley for being able to play a great, dumb, goofy girlfriend. She nails it, man.
Yeah.
So good.
OJ was pretty good in that.
He was as Norberg.
Yeah.
Frank, he went to the chair 2 years ago. All right. Might as well play that one, too, while we're at it. Little Naked Gun. It's always solid.
It's disgusting the way they splash this stuff all over the newspapers. What is journalism coming to? You're laying on top of the Queen with her legs wrapped around you, and they call that news. They can't kick you off the force, Frank. It's just not fair.
I know, Ed. Life isn't always fair. Just think the next time I shoot someone, I could be arrested. Hey, look at that. The missing evidence in the Kellner case. My God, he was innocent.
He went to the chair 2 years ago, Frank.
Well, what's the use?
It's pretty good. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Are the Mariners down by 20 runs yet, Godfather?
No, only about 10, I think.
I don't think John Sakanic's going to be able to survive this baseball season. It's going to kill him.
Oh, God, it's killing him, isn't it?
It's killing him. He gets home from work, and he's like, well, 15-1.
Oh,
Tigers are up 15-1.
He's probably got some backup outfielder pitching by now.
And Tampa Bay is trailing the Astros 3-1, so the Mariners face a potential one-game deficit in the AL West after the action tonight. And this is critical. I think if the Mariners can make it through this 9-game road trip and get 5 wins, if they could go 5-4, they're going to be in great position. But if they don't, and they come out of it 3-6, or they, tailspin out of the road trip, it could be costly. Every game now at this stage of the season is critical in a race like this.
Yeah, especially when it's Houston, battle-tested team that not going to quit or choke at the end. It's going to be hard to catch if you fall 2 or 3 games behind them even.
We were talking about lefties. It is International Left-Handed Day. Well, why do left-handed baseball swings look so great? What is
I
up
don't
with
know,
that?
Chad, but it's always been the prettiest swings were left-handers.
I can't think
Griffey's
of
swing is one of the most iconic swings in baseball history.
it is. My favorite, well, like even Ohtani when he connects on a home run ball is beautiful. My favorite left-handed swing of all time is Will Clark,
Oh, yeah.
who had a beautiful swing. But why does it look better to my eye? Because I can't think of any right-hander that's got a swing like those dudes. Ken Griffey Jr.'s swing was spectacular.
Yeah, I can't figure that out either. Maybe it's because they're closer to first base, so their follow-through is changed somewhat because they're going to be running to first, so they open up a little more. I don't know. I can't figure it out. There has got to be some reason, but
You don't know the answer to that one.
no, I can't give you that one.
I checked the forecast. I'm going to play down in Vegas on Saturday morning at Siena Golf Club. It's not far from where Steve lives.
Triple digits.
106 is going to be the high that day.
Oh, man.
106.
But you're playing early.
Play
It'll
early.
only be a 95.
And I'm taking a
probably.
cart, too. I'm
Oh, you're
not
taking a
walking.
cart.
Yeah, I'm going to take a cart. I think that's a good way to do it. All right, that's going to do it for us. Big thanks to Orrin Manor, who came in studio. He was awesome. And he's going to join us again. We'll continue to talk basketball with Orrin.